Welcome back to WikiLert.
In the dim autumn light of 2025, a chapter of American history closes with a quiet, heartbreaking finality. Dick Cheney, the iron-willed architect of power who shaped the shadows of two presidencies and ignited the fires of a new millennium's wars, has passed away at the age of 84. His death, announced earlier today from his Wyoming ranch, comes after a lifetime of battles, not just the geopolitical storms he navigated, but the relentless ones within his own body. A heart that beat defiantly through transplants and trials until it could fight no more. It's a moment that stops us cold, forcing us to reckon with a man who is both titan and tempest, beloved by some, reviled by many, but impossible to ignore. Picture a young Dick Cheney in the 1960s, a lanky Wyoming kid with a crew cut and a fire in his gut, rising from the oil fields to the halls of Congress. He wasn't born with a silver spoon. He was forged in the grit of the heartland, a draft deferment during Vietnam that would later haunt his legacy, but a drive that propelled him to the White House as chief of staff under Gerald Ford at just 34. By the time Ronald Reagan's era dawned, Cheney was a congressman from Wyoming, a conservative stalwart who voted against releasing Nelson Mandela and for funding Nicaraguan Contras, decisions that painted him as the unflinching guardian of American might. But it was the 1990s that truly armored him, steering Halliburton through the deserts of the Gulf War, amassing a fortune in contracts that blurred the lines between boardroom and battlefield. When George W. Bush tapped him as vice president in 2000, Cheney didn't just advise, he commanded, a shadow president whose influence eclipsed even the Oval Office in those fevered post-9/11 days. September 11th, the day that unleashed the Cheney Doctrine, a philosophy of preemption and power that would redefine the world. He stood at the president's side, his voice steady as he pushed for the invasion of Iraq, convinced Saddam Hussein harbored weapons of mass destruction that, in the end, proved as elusive as desert mirages. The wars he championed toppled dictators, but birthed chaos. Over 4,000 American lives lost in Iraq alone, trillions spent, and a ripple of instability that echoes in headlines to this day. Enhanced interrogation, Guantanamo, the Patriot Act, his fingerprints are on policies that saved lives, his defenders say, but eroded the soul of a nation, drawing cries of war criminal from critics who saw in him the dark heart of empire. And yet, through it all, there was that vulnerability. 5 heart attacks, a transplant in 2012 that gave him a borrowed decade, moments on camera where his gravelly voice cracked, revealing not just the politician, but the husband, the father. The grandfather who cherished fly fishing in the Rockies and quiet evenings with Lynn, his partner of over 50 years. As we mourn Dick Cheney's passing, it's tempting to reduce him to the controversies, the hunting accident that blinded a friend, the secret energy task force, the unyielding defense of torture techniques that human rights groups still condemn. But in this 2025 heartbreak, let's pause for the complexity. A man who believed fiercely in American exceptionalism, who mentored a generation of leaders, and whose daughter Liz carried his torch into the fray against her own party. His legacy? A fractured mirror reflecting our own divisions, power's allure, war's cost, the thin line between patriot and provocateur. Dick Cheney didn't just live history. He bent it to his will, for better or worse, leaving us to pick up the pieces. If this reflection on a life so profoundly American touched you, hit that like button to honor the conversation, and subscribe for more stories.